Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray. This is going to be an update or an energetic update for the year 2020. As you might understand, every year, especially a year that finishes a decade, has an energetic shift embedded into it. And I know you guys are tired, just like me, from hearing the different astrological effects that are happening and everybody's promising different things. I can tell you it's really shifting up and down. There are differences. And I'll give you some advices and tips on how to prepare, how to walk into the cocoon in order to become a better butterfly. So, stay tuned. So, a lot of people have asked me through comments or through emails in my newsletter to give more of these energy updates. I think it's because we are afraid of missing out. I think it's because we realize that there's something that is going on, but we can't really put it into words. So, of course, everybody is very special and individual. So what I'm about to tell you, I want to see how it affects you. I want you to think about, does it resonate with me? Does this information, can I relate to this? Is it happening in my life as well? And of course, don't create any resistance. Just take the things that, feel right to you, and everything else, just wait a couple of months and see if it's going to happen to you as well. So the first thing I can tell you is that you have to, for a very short amount of time, spend some time with yourself. The best ideas today come in the shower. Why? Because we are all so busy. And the energy of 2020 is about the balancing between the individual energy and the group energy. You probably realized by now that the reason that human beings are as they are right now is so we can work in groups, in teams, in harmony one with the other. The reason that our body is so fragile, the reason that we don't have any venom or we're not as strong as a gorilla is so we can rely one on the other. So if we are introverted, the year 2020 is actually a chance for us to become a little bit more social. Not in a way that we have to please other people, but because we have to work on our fears from ourselves. Fears of how people relate to us, what other people think about us, fears about trying to understand other people, trying to understand that we do belong in society and it's not just us in the world. So all of these, you have a chance to work on all of your relationships, which is quite amazing. And this is one of the things that is happening to me as well. Like in any energy update, what I'm telling you are the things that I feel that are happening to me because I know that my internal world is an expression of the spiritual external world that is about to happen. And usually these things happen to me a little bit before, so I can simplify them, so I can find and formulate the right words, so I can explain to you what pitfalls you can avoid. You know, the difference between a smart man and a wise man is that the smart man learns from their mistakes, but the wise man knows how to avert or not to go into the mistakes that the smart man already went through. And this is another thing that is going to happen in 2020. We are becoming wiser. In other words, look at yourself 2 years ago and you probably don't really recognize the person that you were because so many things have shifted, but in the same time, you are true to yourself. You are who you were, only wiser. So if you're the type of person that has to learn from their own mistakes, it is time to open our eyes, move towards unity and 5D, and learn from the mistakes of others. Even a simple example like before you buy a product online, go and check out all the different recommendations that other people gave. Another thing is to consult. So don't keep everything inside. It's time to talk. It's time to express. It's time to be much more. And then at the same time, the creation has created 2 ears and only one mouth. It's time to listen. So sometimes it's good to be in silence and sometimes it's good to talk, and you have to find that right balance because until now it seems that we really haven't. We've been talking much more, we're much more egoistic, and the year 2020 is a shift into the unity. In other words, we need to start thinking about how we can serve other people much more. And the reason that I recommend to you to take some time off, it's because just like a caterpillar that needs to go through a cocoon stage before it becomes a butterfly, we have to spend some time in silence and with ourselves. Another thing that happens, or is going to happen, as this energy actually shifts, is that we're going to meet more and more people like us. So if until now we were stuck in that story that we tell ourselves that nobody really understands us and that we're alone in the universe and maybe we don't really belong here and stuff like that, we start noticing that there are other people. It's either that people that have always been around that are waking up, or it's other people that we open ourselves up to. And the tip here is that we need to map and see what we need to let go of. Because if we are already fully booked, we already have all the friends that we need, supposedly, but some of them are misaligned. And misaligned, it doesn't mean that they're bad in any way. It just means that they're misaligned for us. There's nobody that's really bad. Everybody is just in a different place in their process. So it's time to let go of a little bit in order to open up new doors. Now, the awakening that is occurring now, and this energy, the more and more creational energy that is coming and being transformed from the center of the galaxy to our sun, and therefore to our planet, and the shift that you're noticing around you, is actually forcing us to become more aware. And what do I mean? You're more aware of the thoughts, you're more aware of your creational manifestation power, and you know that your thoughts and your emotions create your reality, so you're a little bit more mindful of what it is that you're thinking. And you're learning to shift between thinking about what it is that I don't want, which is what we do when we complain, when we gossip. Most of the time we think about the things that we don't actually want in our life. In other words, why don't I have enough money? Why doesn't my partner listen to me more often? Why does my mother not see how much I'm trying to be a better person? Instead of that, we're focusing on the abundance that we do have. Being grateful for the little things in life. Being grateful for the things that we do appreciate in ourselves and in our partner, for example, giving them that love, explaining it and expressing it outside into the world, and you will see how the energy around us shifts because we're actually shifting. So when you become more aware of the negative thought patterns that you actually have, the rationality of needing something that is external to us, all of those things are becoming more and more aware to us, and therefore we're actually getting tips and clues from, I call it the higher self, people call it the guidance, God, creation, and everything else, to what we need to be. And what we need to be is not the thing that we think we should be. Because that's exactly the struggle that we're all challenged with, you know. We think we should be something, but we should let go of all thoughts, of all, you know, templates that we think we should be. What is a better person? What is a high vibrational person? Let go and you will see that it comes naturally, it just flows. So because we become more aware of our thoughts, we become more aware of the fears that we're actually facing. Everything that has to do with our job, with our relationship, with our family, close family. If you have children, the fears that we lay upon them with our energy, with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our panics and stuff like that. And when we become more aware, some of us might go through the dark night of the soul. And this is a time that, you know, you need to remember that if you're going through a negative period, it will go away eventually. We have to go into our cave, into our cocoon, to become a butterfly. And this happened quite a lot lately, and in 2020 I feel it's going to happen on a much greater scale. I feel that there's openings. Humanity is really ready to transform, and we are. I know we hear it all the time, but I want you to look at the greater scheme of things. Over the last 20 years, we have transformed. There's a lot more people that have compassion towards animals. There's a lot more people that have acceptance towards the things that they cannot change. And others, they're going out in protest to the streets. Look at how many things we have in different countries right now. We have in Syria, we have in Egypt, we have in Ecuador. We have so many rebellions against the government, the system, because it's humanity waking up. If it's happening on a collective level, then it has to happen or has occurred on enough individual levels. And the body that is humanity is made out of a lot of different cells, and the body moves in a certain direction, and the other cells have to align themselves to the will of the body. In other words, when a lot of people wake up simultaneously, there is an underlying invisible connection between all of us, and therefore we are pulled in that direction. And this is why you have so many people that right now are beginning to wake up even more. So you can find more people who are aligned to your will. You can see more people interested in having like all these weird conversations about aliens and conspiracies and what they do tell us and what they don't tell us, and mass control over media and stuff like that. You have this. This is becoming a very normal narrative for most of us. We understand that it's a part of the story. We take it for granted, but other people are beginning to wake up to see that. Now, what you can do about this is work a lot more on yourself. You have to understand who you are and where you come from, your natural true self. And I'm not talking about the things that you want, but allowance. Embrace yourself as you are. Stop the struggle and the challenge. You don't need them anymore. All you have to focus on is your breath and being in the center. Your center can actually come when you see that a thought comes about the future and you bring it back to where you are right now, because the future will never be what we planned it to be. That's the false self. That's the ego that is trying to make us be more and more afraid. And the two biggest things that I do feel is the ascension thing, and by that I'm calling anything that is about the illumination process that we're going through. Some people will say enlightenment, but I want to use the phrase enlightenment because it means so many different things to other people, and it's a mental construct that is just words. It's like I would use God, so for a Christian and for a Jew and for a Muslim, and for all of us, God means something a little bit different, and maybe it's connected with a negative experience that we have. So the first thing is that illumination that is occurring within yourself, fighting it or not fighting it, you need to embrace it. And the second thing is that non-dual experience, which I will create a completely different set of videos about, to explain what it means to move from the darkness into the light, from the negative emotions into the positive emotions, how to encourage it, what actually happens on a wavelength, why human 3D experience is experienced in a dual way. Why do we have thoughts and definitions of what is good for us and what is bad for us? And the more we let go of these things, the more we embrace the non-dual nature that is our true self. If you still haven't watched, I made a really good video about the 5D. And what we're doing in the ascension process is we're moving a little bit closer to the 5D. Once you start recognizing it within yourself, you will start noticing that every problem that you ever had is a definition of a non-dual brain or non-dual ego that keeps bringing us to our comfort zone, and that's where we get stuck. And that's why most of us are actually not really happy with what we have. We're trying to understand what happiness is, and then we try to duplicate what we see in others, or what people expect happiness to be, instead of just returning to the beingness. And this is what is happening in 2020. This is that energy shift that I'm actually talking about. Now, you already feel it, and again, when you step back and you look at the bigger picture, you will notice that you are shifting yourself. Now you can make a choice to shift faster. And it's a choice, you don't have to. You can say, I let go of the struggle, I let go of the need to know that something is going on, and I let the natural pace that my higher self thinks is the best for me to take place. But if you want, you can put that intention, because then you're stepping into your power as a conscious co-creator. And that makes a big difference. Because when you step into that power, you assume responsibility. You assume responsibility for your thoughts, you assume responsibility for your beliefs, and when you become more aware of them, which is what is happening, and this is the energy shift that I'm talking about, when you become more aware of them, you have to go through a very small struggle, and sometimes even embarrassment, of why I thought that thing, why I believed that I was traumatized by that thing, and therefore I created a whole story, a whole paradigm, a whole parallel universe, an alternative to what could have been the best possible future for me. And then when you go X on that, you shift. And then X on that, and you shift. That's why becoming more aware and awake to our thoughts, and to our emotions, and therefore to our beliefs, we shift quicker. So we can have that intention to have a quicker process than anything else, or we can just let go. I've tried both. I can tell you that when I did put that intention, I got a little bit more than what I thought, which was a great lesson for my spiritual ego. So you can learn, you can be wise and learn from my mistakes, or you can learn by your own mistake, because we have a spiritual ego that says that we can deal with everything. And when you become more aware, you are aware of what that ego is. That ego that is telling other people that they are wrong, like veganism. Somebody called me Nazism, Nazi veganism, or something like that it becomes a religion of them saying this is good and everything else is bad. And you become more aware of your judgments to yourself, more humble and more acceptance of who you truly are, you know, imperfectly perfect, as I like to say. So all these things and more are already happening, but they're going to be more intense. in the coming year of 2020. And that's just the beginning of it. And like always, I'm going to try to do more of these updates. I don't like to rattle on. I don't like to say things that I don't really feel. I don't like to say things that, that are very repetitive. I want to tell you that a shift is occurring. And when you look at it from a broader perspective, you see it within yourself and you see it in humanity. You see it in the news, you read it in the books. You see that the type of drugs that are coming out, like DMT-5-MeO, are non-dual drugs. They're a completely new experience. You see that the new, you can say, spiritual groups are becoming more aware of one of the other. So people are attracted to different workshops, to different mentors, online and YouTube, read different books that somehow are created now because we are ready for them. And this is just part of everything that is so beautiful that is happening right now. So be at peace. Don't think, don't expect, just be, and you will see that things are beginning to happen by themselves, and you'll become more aware that they're already happening for you on an individual level and in the collective. Namaste, my friends. I will see you in my next video. If you want more of my stuff and sign up to my newsletter, raymaor.com. I love you.